Welcome, everyone, to the YMCA Men's League Floor Hockey Podcast, Circle of Jerks. Tonight we'll be recapping the Week 3 games, and, well, who are we? I am Pete R. Across the table from me is Jer Bear Boner. Across the table from me, once again, is Cannonball Kurt. And the Bob has done so well over the past 2 weeks that he was picked off waivers, and he's currently covering the father-daughter national, junior, international three-legged curling championships, and we wish him luck. We absolutely do.
Way to use your family leave time.
So Week 3. Before we get into the games, how you guys feeling tonight?
I was feeling pretty sore when I got up this morning. A piece of my tooth fell out earlier today. I don't know if that's directly relatable to last night, but it happened.
I think it can. I think it was the floor hockey coming out.
And we did see some shots in the mouth last night. So.
Did we ever?
Oh my gosh! And he was sitting on the bench too, which is even more incredible. So energy definitely seemed to be back in full force for Week 3. That led to, once again, some more controversial calls going into Week 3. It's tough to be a ref this season. They're getting brutal. 2 undefeated teams, 2 winless teams that are left. So with that being said, let's definitely get into the first game. Jer Bear, what's the 6:30 game?
So 6:30 we had, I have it as Pubic Enema. That's Public Enemy with 6. Falling to NW Gay, normally NWA, with 8 points on the night. Going to the Pubic Enema stats, we have Chris Enright, 2-2. Tim Anderson, 2-0. Chris Lally, 1-0. Shane Humphreys, 1 goal, 1 assist. Bill Rylick, finishing out with 58 saves, 88% save percentage, and their lone game star for that team. On the other side of NW Gay, we had Mike Bryant, 2 goals, 1 assist. Mike Sturgis, 0-2. Steve Newberry, 3 goals, 1 assist. Dave Inaudible Grunt Fos, 3 goals, 1 assist, and a game star. Ryan Conco, 59 saves, 91% save percentage, with the 3rd game star of that game.
Yeah, I think we now no Matt Ferngully for Public Enemy, and then no Jeremy Roto-Rooter for NWA. Goalies were awesome tonight. I mean, 88% for Bill, 91% for Conco. A huge save. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Enright had a dirty goal save. The puck was going over Bill, going into the net. Enright literally knocked the puck out of air, cleared it out of the zone. I think one of the big things, and the Bob and I have the Bob's notes here. I thought it was a great game. It got to a point of where it was about 6-6 with about 7 minutes left in the third. Really tight play. I thought Public Enemy really, I liked the new style of play for them. Enright was coming into this week. He wanted to kind of be a lot more physical, use his endurance to play the puck a little bit more aggressively, and I thought they played well. And obviously a 6-6 against a very offensive team. Bryant did not have a big week with only 2 goals and 1 assist. So they were aggressive, but they take this time out after it was 6-4. They come back to tie at 6-6. Take the timeout, and then they lost it from there. You know, this game was just, they kind of fell apart from there, but I think you nailed it on the head. Steve Newberry, Dave Foes both step up with 3 goals and 1 assist. I mean, these guys are seeing scoring from all over the floor. I mean, what do you guys think of that? Is this the season where the guys that you don't expect step up to win the games?
I had right here on my notes that I was taking. This is the season of, I call them second-tier players, which I put myself firmly in there. I might even be 3rd tier, I think. But they're stepping up. It's happening in my team, a tribe called Quest, and I think it's a pretty cool thing to see because it's catching up. It's like we were all wondering what's going to be the thing that makes this veteran season kind of fun because we all know each other so well, and we're seeing these other players step up, and they're kind of like wild cards. But there's a lot of wild cards floating around. I love it.
Yeah, definitely a lot of wild cards coming into the season. And NWA, this is the reason that I picked them as my preseason number 1, simply because of their depth. Bryant has a slow night with 2 goals and 1 assist, but defensively they definitely played them well. Tim Anderson was moving around the floor. Chris Enright was all across the floor as usual. Shane is just a big guy that is just blocking them down. And I thought they had a chance to win. I thought they were going to after that big save that Chris had. But, I mean, Jeremy, what do you think was the big difference for NWA taking the win?
I mean, it's definitely the timeout was questionable. I mean, the timing of it. I mean, sure, you give yourself a breather. You're down a guy. I understand taking a timeout, but as you're starting to roll, you kind of stifled your own offense, and it ended up coming back to bite them. That being said, I mean, as much as you want to say, it's the season where the backup players or the tier 2 players that you put in are stepping up, you need production from your 1s and 2s. If you're looking at the stat sheet across the board for both teams, you're talking about 4 goals combined for Public Enemy, and NWA had 2 goals combined for their top 2 on either side. In a goalie battle like this, where both goalies are hot and everything's getting stopped, you really need that extra from your top guys. And if it's not coming, and you're not getting that connection, I mean, you really got to kind of shake it up and think, start to revisit roles of players and things like that.
And what's going to happen for the rest of the season? I mean, once again, we're 3 games into the season. Obviously, teams are going to need to continue to mesh well going further. But a couple notes from the Bob. I thought it was pretty funny. Foes, once again, he has a great week, has this primal scream that you were talking about. Dave Foes loses the ability to speak English language when playing. First, we heard the primal scream last week. This week from the bench, I think he was trying to yell instructions, but instead he sounded like the Tasmanian devil. If we had subtitles in this game, it would just read inaudible screaming, which I thought was funny.
It was like a bad lip reading, but it was actually done. Like it was done real time, man.
And then I thought Bob brought up a great point. Shane Humphrey's beard might be better than Paul Paradine's. It's growing. I mean, you're getting to that point too, but I don't know, Paul.
Yeah.
Paul's pretty grizzly.
I think Shane smells better, from what I've noticed.
What does it smell like?
It smells, well, we all are emanating a different odor this season with all the extra, air conditioning you've got going on. There was a lot that, I tell you, it almost gets blinding to watch the game out there. And it's neat seeing all the bruises now, though. They all show up a lot better.
Yeah, the bruises definitely show up later.
He had a good point, too. Bob also brought up here about Enright.
Oh, my gosh. The shoe.
Yeah. The
shoe was untied.
6 minutes plays with his shoe untied, as opposed to, as in Bob's word, subbing out to tie it like a normal person might do, or even just bending down and tying it. He goes and goes and goes. He was frustrated. He was frustrated last night. I think Chris is not used to not scoring.
No, not scoring, not losing. He's had past 2 seasons. Haven't been his favorite. This is a guy that's obviously been playing for a long time. What is it? It's 9th or 10th season. Definitely a long time playing. He loves to score. He's always been at the top of the chain. What's this season going to be like for him? To me, when I'm looking at this team, I can see them winning games similar to Austin 316 did in the fall, where they're just very heavy defensively. They get their opportunities to score and they win. But, I mean, just like this game, they just faltered just a little bit. But it's a long season coming. I gave my stars to Steve Newberry, Conco, Chris Enright. I think got over Bill Reilich because ultimately he had that great save that could have hurt Reilich's save percentage even further, and he had 2-on-2 on the night. But you got to give a note to Dave Foes, 3-1 as well. And for Bob, he had Bill, Ryan, and Steve Newberry.
Yeah, I had Conco and I had Bill. I thought that was definitely. I think that is a huge reason why Enright's, Bryant's numbers are down so much. Obviously, as those 2 goalies look at their save percentages, they affirm that fact. And I put Foes in for a game star because I thought he was a real difference maker.
He slid around a lot.
Yeah, and I thought that's what brought that team to success. Was when he goes out there, it's almost like he's taking a page from Enright's playbook. He does not stop the entire time.
And then he goes to sit on the bench and does Tasmanian devil screams.
Yeah.
Whatever works.
It's like an angry Richard Simmons out there.
So I think everyone from last week had this game right. It seemed like a pretty no-brainer pick. This was my no-brainer pick from last week, but definitely a lot tighter game than all of us anticipated. But a great game to watch. I really enjoyed it. So that's a 6:30 game. Let's jump on to the 7:30 game.
7:30, we had Furious 5 finishing up with 6, falling to the Tribe, who ended it with 11. Going to the Furious 5 side, Paul Paradine, 5 goals, 1 assist. Jesse Trado, 0-2. Pete Skidmore, 1 goal, 0 assists. Brad Burr blanked with a penalty minute. Ryan Conco, 54 saves, 83% save percentage, with Paul Paradine getting the lone game star for that team. On the flip side, you have Mike Furlano with 2 and 3. Jeff Burge, 2 and 2. Pat, 0 and 3. And then, damn, John Strack at it again with 7 goals. 7 goals, 0 assists, the game star on that side.
Man.
Kurt blanked. Brett, 43 saves, 88% save percentage, and the third game star of the game.
Now, first off, Kurt did not blank. Kurt is... You're having a great season, and I'll get to that in a little bit, but once again, another huge game from an unexpected player, but I don't even know if it's unexpected because after last week's 6-2 performance, John Strack to the future with 7 goals. Brett with 88 saves, 8 goals, 8 assists on 11 goals. I mean, once again, I don't think the game was very pretty, but you guys are hustling, you're getting it done. The defense continues to frustrate. Mike on Paul this week. You on Jesse. Jesse was just frustrated the entire game. I think your defense is top notch this year. You're an all-out attack. No team has had a response for you yet. You guys have the best goal differential in the league, plus 12. Only 23 goals allowed in 3 games, which is the best in the league. What is your secret here? What do you think is the reason that your team is doing so well?
Man, it's Wayne Stratsky. Nick Nack, Patty Strack, man, we got it. No, well, obviously, actually, I say that half jokingly. He kind of has been our secret sauce that we've had. I mean, you know what one of the ingredients in Colonel Sanders' recipe is, and that's John Strachan. I don't know. This week, we don't even see it happening either. The other team, but I think you said when this we just go out there and we are not gonna let that other team. We know who the dangerous weapons are, and we just stick on them.
You guys are relentless. You guys are absolutely relentless, and it's really funny. Bob literally sent me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bullets, and then he finished it, and he was writing up his game stars, and he was like, honest to God, I forgot once again about John Strachan. How do you do that, Jeremy?
I don't know. I mean, Count Stracula has been a big part of their offense for the past 2 weeks. He's a solid Strack attack, big Strack with extra special sauce. You can't. I mean, the problem is game planning against your team. Your top 2 are deadly. You have probably one of the deadliest combos in your top 2. Mm-hmm. So when you're looking at it on paper, you're like, all right, this is who I'm going to cover. But then that first week, you had Pat jump off for 4. So now you're like, okay, these are the 2, and then Pat.
Well, and now resting him for the playoffs.
And now you have Shaquille O'Neal coming out for the past 2 weeks, just putting up crooked numbers. Like, how do you game plan against this?
That's I think the most exciting part about this team is because you expect to guard Furlano, you expect to guard Burge, but every single week someone else has stepped up. So what is the game plan against this team? And it's not just the offense that you guys are really putting together, but it's also the defense. I mean, you're looking at Paul, who Bob and I both have said that was one of the hardest games that I've seen him play. He came out, he had 5 goals, 1 assist, a really strong game by him, but one of the things that I didn't really see much is Jesse and him cannot find chemistry. They started to mesh well in the second and third period, but prior to that, they both enjoy holding onto the puck. They like to both do what they do best, which is controlling the puck and shooting it. But they're missing something. They're missing something to not get that. And I don't know if this is going to be a long season if they can't find the chemistry.
Well, let's acknowledge the elephant in the room, and that's that Gaffey was not there.
Gaffey, good point.
Huge difference maker, and I felt that all night. In a way, when we started getting up a little more, I thought, this would be a totally different situation if Gaffey was here. I don't know his pure vanilla extract would have made that many goals. I think Mike wouldn't have. Gaffey is
a gnat.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a gnat.
He's going to stick to whoever, and then he's going to grab that puck and run back the other way with it, and then it's on us to get back to him. So that's like the big asterisk for our win last night was no Gaffey.
Yeah, but you guys played well. I think you do have to look at both sides. Paul has definitely been listening to the podcast because we saw him pass more in that game. Even though he had 5 goals and 1 assist, he did still shoot a lot. But I think he's listening to the podcast and trying to pass the puck more. But there were times that I saw him pass the puck to Brad and to Pete, and they were like, "What are you doing? Just score the goal!" Like they just wanted him to bring him back in.
I mean, the issue is this: you're a team of 5 guys on the floor.
Yep.
I mean, you can't really rely on one guy because when that guy's not there, he's going to kill you. But the fact of the matter is this: if you're looking at the stat sheet, you have 1 goal from the rest of your team. You have a team of 4 guys. You have one guy put in 5, and the rest scrounge up 1 goal. You're not going to win games that way. I mean, as much as you want to pass more, you want to shoot more. Yeah, you got to get those guys involved, but those guys, they got to finish as well.
The thing that we do have to look at is, once again, your goaltender, Kurt. Brett is having a great year. He obviously was a champion last season. This guy is becoming into the realm of where we talked about Marfione when we used to play, when we used to talk about. Obviously, Conco is finally back into the rhythm. Brett is becoming this strong elite goaltender. 88 save percentage tonight, last night, 43 saves. This guy is becoming a monster.
He's definitely cool under pressure, a lot like Mark always was. He doesn't get flustered, because you do see there are some goals that can fluster a goalie.
Oh, he was so frustrated in the first period. So he was slamming his stick on the ground, but he turned it around.
But he does that, and he gets it out of the system, and 2 seconds later he's right back on his game, which is, it's nice knowing that's behind you when you're playing, because it's not fun knowing those goals are coming by, or those shots are coming by, and your goalie might be a little bit quaking. So I agree with you though. I definitely, my game stars, I had Paul for sure, and I had Brokeback Strachan, and I had a tough time between Furlano or Brett on that one, but I'm gonna have to say Brett, because I really thought he was the backbone.
Yeah, I thought he was the difference maker. John Paul, Brett, Count Dracula has just been playing great. Doing very well, obviously playing. It was a fun game to watch for me.
Did you say that was a fun game to watch?
Yeah, it was a fun game to
Really?
watch. Yeah.
Like fun, like not boring?
No, it was not boring, but it's just.
I
understand.
That was a reversal of fortune for
I
us.
do. You guys are just such big hustlers, and I think that is why I enjoy it, because you're not beating teams because you're being fancy. I mean, granted, you guys had 8 assists on 11 goals.
Not a pretty win. We all were saying that.
Were you taking stats this game?
Yes.
Because 8 assists on 11 goals is incredible. I mean,
well, that leads me. We're stepping up the assists. There's one other team I'm seeing that's stepping up the assists, but I haven't seen the assists happening quite the way we were hoping they might materialize. Yeah. It's a lot of go at your own.
I mean, the other big thing to watch for you guys going in the future is will Galfastrakis be the guy that jumps over the Most Improved award and puts himself in the running for MVP? I mean, obviously, if he keeps up this caliber of play, he is the most valuable player on your team in that game, and in the last game as well. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's definitely crazy to see somebody progress that much where they're making that much of an impact.
He had more goals than the entire other team. And I think that's just where you end this. This team is playing well. I'm really excited to see the matchup next week. We'll get into that in the next broadcast. But great game tonight. Had a lot of fun. Let's jump to the 8:30.
8:30, my game. We had the Wu-Tang Clan, and there ain't nothing to fuck with, playing against the Sugar Hill Gang. Wu-Tang finishing with 14, Sugar Hill with 9. On the Wu-Tang side, we had Joe Gant, 6 goals, 2 assists with a game star. John Chattergoon, 4 goals, 0 assists, second star for their side. Kyle Antilla, 2 goals, 1 assist. The Bob I Got Better Things to Do Hartman, 0 goals and 2 assists. Steve Kazmark, 2 goals, 0 assists. Alex Packard, 47 saves, 84% save percentage. On the other side of the fence, Sugar Hill Gang, Gianni Jones, 6 goals, 0 assists with the star on that side. Kevin Baldwin blanked. Dave King, 3 goals, 0 assists. I finished with 0 goals and 2 assists. I'm Jeremy Bonet. And Kevin Parker also blanked. Steve Schultz, 59 saves, 81% save percentage. So.
To jump into this game, I think it's best to take a quote from the Bob. Alex just gets better as the game goes on. Not quite like fine wine, because it's not taking as long to quote-unquote age, but maybe like a stadium beer, because by the end of the game you're drunk and it just tastes better. I don't think there's a better explanation for Alex. 13 saves, third period alone, 21 saves on 23 shots. He only let in 2 goals in the third period. They were definitely peppering in shots, as their opponents only had 13 shots against. So it's a game that I thought it seemed really calm for Wu-Tang. The first period, I thought Sugar Hill, I thought this was the best game that you guys have played so far. Even though you did lose at a higher margin than the week prior, but you seem to just look more as a team. Gianni scored 3 goals, 2 goals, and 1 goal, where Joe kind of flipped the script and scored 1 goal, 2 goals, 3 goals, so he got better as the game going on. But I think one of the things that scares me so much is you guys seem to get so frustrated when goals are scored. You had 73 shots on goal this week, 65 shots on goal last week. You're letting a lot of shots through. You have one of the best shot blockers in the league. What do you think is the reason that so many shots are getting through?
I mean, I feel like a lot of it is we bought into the where is the offense going to come from early on in the season. So a lot of the guys that would normally play defense are trying to be like, oh, this is where the goals are coming from. And this time, we tried to flip back to a more defensive mindset. We kind of came in with a better strategy. And for the first period and a half, we actually, carried it out pretty well with that strategy. Mm-hmm. The one thing that I liked about it is we were down early, early. And we actually, we clawed back, tied it up at the end of the first. And then
you went ahead. You guys were up 5-4.
Yeah. And then it's tough because, a lot of our guys, when you put a fast-paced team against us, we really need to focus on positioning instead of tiring ourselves out trying to compete with a fast-paced team because, towards the end of the period, end of the game, we're gassed and there's nothing left in the tank. And sure, we got 21 shots at the end, but the quality of the shots probably wasn't the best. And
they weren't. I mean, Wu-Tang was down at the end of the first. They dominated the next 2 periods, outscoring you guys 10-4. And it did. It was exactly what you said, is that you guys played great defense in the first. You really hustled, but eventually you just got wore down because that's the way that team is. They're big hustlers. You have Kyle, who doesn't stop running. You have Joe, who's just unbelievable. But the rest of the players, John, Bob, and Steve, are very smart players on the floor where they're just taking it. And, they had a great game simply because they played a great team game. I mean, they knew exactly where they were going to get the next shot, to get the next goal. And they have Joe, who's just their leader on the offensive side. And John had a great second period with 3 goals. I mean, Kurt, what do you think about Wu-Tang? What was the reason that they were able to switch in the second period?
I think it's exactly what you're saying. It's that none of them really seemed to be in doubt about what they had to do. There was no real confusion. I noticed when Steve would be out there, he knew just what his role was, and he played it to a T. Joe knows what his role is, and he does it. I saw a little frustration from him, just a little bit, but mostly because he was missing shots, not because he wasn't getting them. Kyle said the same thing, but one of the things I thought was the key to success was the Bob. I thought he did a great job as a dual role player. He's got a great defensive game, but boy, he was really pressuring up front. Like he seemed to be on both sides of the court at any given time, and I was just amazed at his hustle.
This team has a lot of confidence right now. It's a team where coming into it, I thought they definitely all looked a little nervous. What is going to be happening? Obviously, we have Joe. That's going to be a big scorer. You have the defensive side of John, Bob, and Shane. Kyle is obviously a great offensive guy, and they were just all concerned about what's going to be happening. But I think one of the big things is exactly they all know their role, and they're just playing their role, what's their best. John is a great scorer when he wants to be, and when he can be, when he gets the actual looks for the opportunity, and he will score. But his best thing is defensive, and he's doing that. Kyle is playing on the offensive side, scoring 2 goals and 1 assist in the third period. But Bob defensive, Steve defensive. He had 2 goals in there, and Joe is lighting the lamp. I mean, what do you guys think of Joe this year? Joe's really turning it on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, he was happy to win the MVP last season, but he was also kind of took it with a grain of salt, kind of like, well, Paul can't win it, Zach didn't play. So I feel like now that both those guys are in the league again this season, and he wants to be that guy that's like, well, I'm going to win it again, but I'm going to win it against you guys to kind of show that I deserve this, not just because, off of formality.
And that's one of the big questions, too, especially with the MVP voting is it time to just kind of open it up to the league? Is it time that, hey, listen, we have enough good players in the league now that we should be opening up the MVP voting?
I mean, it's definitely something that we can look at. It's been in the conversation where it's just like, at this point, do we scrap if you won it this many times you can't win anymore, because how can we keep denying that you deserve this award just because you've won it before?
Should there be term limits on an MVP?
With that being said, the one thing that worries me about Wu-Tang, and it kind of sounds like a joke as I say it with like this, but they kind of the past 2 games got a little lucky. It took the Homer Simpson, Dredrick Tatum approach, where they kind of let their opponent punch themselves tired and just kind of outlast them and then kind of take advantage of them being tired at the end. The question is, how long is that going to work? I mean, you're going to run into a team that's not going to punch themselves tired. They're just going to keep punching. So how much can you really weather the storm and bank on them getting tired?
And that's a great point, because especially coming into next week when they're facing a Tribe Called Quest, who we all know is a very aggressive team. So we'll look into that for next week, for the next podcast. But for now, great win.
I'm still trying to get over the fact that Kevin Baldwin was blanked.
Blanked again.
What?
He's in 23rd place, I think, right now in scoring.
Uncharacteristic. Oh, and I hope he's all right. I mean, he said he hyperextended his leg at the end of the game there. He just went right down.
I think it's also worth mentioning that our goalie was like in his underwear in the window after our game. It was kind of funny. Cool.
There was a lot of flesh there.
Yeah.
Steve, no, and let's not. Steve was getting peppered all night.
Yeah.
And he's a rookie goalie in this league, and
he's getting his shit.
He's getting his hazing. I was actually kind of delighted to see his save percentage. I thought it was actually going to be a little lower from what I was seeing as I was repping this game. But I'm glad to see that he managed to stop as many as he did. There's one other thing that was funny in that game. Boy, I saw Kevin Parker going up against Chatterton, and all I could think of in my mind's eye, because he's going up trying to stop John, and John just kind of bats him away. So then he comes around and attacks him to the other side, and it just looked like a big dog with a little dog nipping at his heels, and I could not get that image out of my head. But hey, and hat tip to Parker for I've gone up against John. It's like trying to scale a wall that's 12 feet high, man.
Yeah, another fun game. I mean, it was a 5-goal difference, but I really enjoyed all of the games tonight. Wu-Tang with another great win. I had Joe G. Gianni and John C. Same as you. So great game.
Yeah, same here.
All right, 9:30 game. Final game of the week.
Final game of the week. We have the Roots finishing with 15.
Woo!
Over Run DMC, who ended with 12. On the Roots side, Pete Lunchmeat, 10 goals, 0 assists. Dan Gladding, 1 goal, 0 assists, and an uncanny knack to get hurt every game somehow. Yeah. Ian Smith, 2 goals, 1 assist. And then Mike Furlano subbing with 2 goals, 1 assist. I had to think of who the hell Mike was on your team. Goalie Kenton, 44 saves, 79% save percentage. On the Run DMC side, Zach 3 and 4 with a game star. Brian D'Angelo 4 and 1. Jerry Wagner 3 and 2 got the other game star on my end. Rob Maston 1 goal, 1 assist. Mike Wazowski 1 goal, 2 assists. John Ramsey 40 saves, 73% save percentage.
All right, so we'll jump into the Bob's notes about this game, because I think they're pretty strong points. Once again, I don't think Run DMC played great defense. Ramsey did not have the best night. A lot of shots that Ramsey were facing were uncontested. He has to stop a few more of them. Now, the one thing that Bob brought out, it was Mike F. as a sub is a little controversial to him. Roots are missing 2 players. We're missing Andy and Austin. Obviously, Andy's a big run and gun player. Austin has got great hands. Put the 2 of them together, yeah, it's Furlano. But in this league, the spirit of the rule is just to replace one guy. Neither Andy or Austin was drafted as high as Mike. Bob has notes that Mike was picked as 8th overall, Austin 13th, Andy is 20th. So Mike didn't show up big on the scoring sheet, but his defense was obviously disruptive, especially on Zach.
I agree with Bob. But when I was watching, I was like, Mike really is the perfect combination of Austin and Andy. He was hustling like Andy. He might have.
But is that really what we look at when you're looking for a sub? Do you look for the combination of the 2, or do you look to just fill one of those?
I think a smart team would look for the combination of the 2. Just
well,
like
obviously.
You did. And I think that that's what I think you should do, and try running up the flagpole and see who's to lose.
I mean, at the end of the day, the other captain has to agree, regardless. So the fact, he allowed it, and like you said, he
Mike
didn't
play the game already.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that I think he played in your game, like I think he outpaced himself better than he did in our game. It was.
Yeah, he did.
He was digging deep into those reserve sources, man.
Again, the Roots are just going to be full of controversy this year. Week 1, we had the high stick, no goal. Week 2, obviously, was the fun game with Jer Bear. This week, we had a moving pick that wasn't called as a penalty, a whistle for a no-covered puck. There was a time where Ramsey was literally holding the puck on his pad up against the pole. No one was on me, and all I did was just kept swatting at the puck because there was no whistle. No one was coming at me. The puck was not covered, so I'm just going to keep playing until I hear a whistle. Puck ends up in the net. And then we have the Furlano. Is he a fair sub? So obviously we're just full of controversy. I have to be excited about the win, right? Of course.
Oh my gosh, you guys! Yeah, that win was well deserved. You guys played fantastic you gelled as a team, and I mean being down 2 guys.
And
we saw how that works.
But did we gel as a team? Because I mean, we had 2 assists on 15 goals, and granted, I felt like there was more assists. I had at least 15 assists last night, Jeremy, easily on the 15 goals, and I scored 10 of them. So there were definitely some assists that you missed, but
I thought Dan and Ian did a nice job for what they had to do. I mean, I think that someone had the answer with Zach, and I mean, Brian just kept putting them in there no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was another point that I had. I thought, once again, I was looking at the game, I was like, yeah, we stopped Brian, I felt good about it. He had 4 goals and 1 assist.
And that's the thing, like, this game is kind of an enigma to me. I'm sitting here and I'm stacking my brain trying to put this together. And really, like, if you're looking at the Run DMC side of things, they put up the numbers they're supposed to put up. Everybody had numbers. Everybody had, a decent night on that side offensively. Everybody was on the board. Really, the only thing that sticks out to me is you let somebody on the other team score 10 goals. And I don't know, I mean, there's not really many games where you're going to give one player on the opposition 10 goals and you're going to come out on top. And really, that's the only thing, that's the only nail in the coffin that I can think that kind of ended up costing them this game.
You think it was, I mean, we say the defense was not good. I mean, that kind of proves the point, but I mean, where do you think the breakdown really happened? I mean, they got Jerry Wagner. Was he asleep at the switch?
I mean,
I didn't see much from Chris. Mike Wazowski. I felt like he was kind of just a non-entity in that game compared to what I've seen him play. Like when we were playing in the Winter Classic, he had moves. I just didn't see it last time. Maybe it's from that shot he took in the mouth from Zach.
Yeah, I mean,
something big right in the mouth.
I don't know. To me, Zach didn't play at 100% last night, and it's amazing that he can play at 75% and still have 7 points on the night. I thought he was passing too much. I thought that if he shot more, this game would have been, just like last week, a 20-19 game. Who knows where really Run DMC is going to go throughout the year?
I mean, looking at the numbers, the only thing that I can think of on there is there's a couple times where it's close or they're down 1 or 2, and they focus on the offensive side of things more to try to make up that deficit instead of, okay, we got to stop them from scoring. They're more on the mindset of, we just need to score more. And it's working for them because they had 10 assists on 12 goals.
Huge.
So offensively, the production there and the chemistry, it's working. They're putting up numbers. They just kind of have to focus more on, okay, we can't let them put up numbers too.
Yeah, I mean, we might see the assist record broken this year of Enright's 28 in spring 2015. I mean, these guys are putting up massive numbers. I mean, we were starting the Roots in the beginning of the season. We were starting with great assists. Obviously, last night, maybe a few assists were missed, but the fact of the matter is maybe 3 assists might have been missed, and that's only 5 on 15 goals. The fact of the matter is I had so much room last night. Like, I had more breakaways, I think, last night than I did in the first 2 games combined. And the same thing with Furlano. Furlano was open down low, and we just had more shots. I passed to Dan. Dan had an open shot to get in the net. So the defense is not there, but this team is so much better than they are. They're going to come back. This is going to be a deadly team. If they keep losing, I fear the team that has to play them with one of the playoffs.
That's exactly my thought. I was looking at this as the other team I was mentioning that is upping their assists. And they're, are they the number 1 assist team right now?
I believe they just caught up to us, yes.
Yeah. So that was impressive to see. A couple nice goals from Ian Smith last night.
Yeah.
Galloping in like a gazelle, or a moose as he called it.
Yeah, he's always. Yeah, I just enjoy him on the team. This was the one pick that most of us picked. I think everyone actually picked Run DMC. Sucked that we lost in the picks, but really excited about the win. Fun game regardless. Who were your week 3 stars?
Stars of the week. I have Pete Lundstedt, John Strack-Efron, and Joe Gant.
Joe Gant, so you're not giving Conco 91%.
No.
Okay.
Fuck Conco.
I had the same 3-week stars. Pete, John, Kraft Straccaroni and Cheese, and Joe Gant, who I'm actually in about an hour, I'm going to be seeing him battle Batman, the movie, going tonight. I guess.
It's gotten terrible reviews, so let me know how it is.
Well, I think Wonder Woman's going to be in it too.
Yeah, but I heard they're already rewriting the Wonder Woman movie to remove mention of this movie because that's how bad the reviews are.
Yeah.
Oh boy! All right, yeah, I had Pete R 10 goals, 0 assists, Joe G and Conco at 91%. But jumping into the plays of the week, brought to you by Steve Urkel. Chris, did I do that? Enright knocks the puck out of there as it was going to save a goal. Bob had a great play of the week, third period of last game. Zach point. It was just an amazing play. Chris passed to D'Angelo. D'Angelo, immediate pass, first touch to JJ, behind the back, in the front of the net.
That was my play of the week, too. I missed the Enright one, but I watched it, and Bob and I were right next to each other, so that's a play of the week.
I'm going to have to say that that's probably my play of the week, too, and it's scary to think that now that JJ's back, that you're going to see probably something like that every game.
And one thing that I was talking about with JJ after the game is he just looked at me and he was just like, Zach is just so good. And one of the things with JJ and I last year was that it took a while for us to find a chemistry, like 3 or 4 games. But the second we found our chemistry, that guy shot up through the standings. And that's really what I fear for this team because they're going to get to that next level. Zach sees the floor so differently than anyone else. He doesn't pass to the man. He passes where you should be going. So the second that his team starts realizing it, it's going to go through the roof. A lot of fun. My last one was the Strack Street Boys, new number 1 hit. Strack Street's back. All right. John Straction, 7-0. Guys just having a massive year. Really excited for him. Been a great back-to-back weeks. It definitely was Straculous. So, the question for the week is, you're a cupcake competition. You need a baker, a decorator, and a judge. Who would you pick and why?
Saying Brad Burr is my baker.
Brad Burr is your baker? Okay.
Brad Burr is my baker. Decoration-wise, I'm probably going to go... So you said baker, decorator, and what was the third?
Baker, decorator, and judge.
And judge, okay. Decorator, I'm probably going to go with Kurt Brownell. He does a lot of food photography. I think he knows the industry. He'd probably be a pretty good decorator. At least have some sort of idea. He's always cooking some weird shit too, from what I see on Facebook. So I feel like he's a good choice for the decorator. As far as the judge, I like cupcakes, so I feel like I would probably be the judge of my own, my cupcake thing.
Yeah, boy. I mean, that's a tough one. I feel like I think I want Zach to be the decorator. I think he'd do it up real pretty. He's got that delicate touch with his hands, and I think he'd do something real nice. The baker's a tougher one for me. I'd have to go with probably. I don't know. I could see Gianni in the kitchen with an apron on, just looking like a gigantic Keebler elf.
Is he wearing anything underneath?
Dude, I don't go into that. That's Conco's. That's Conco's area. And as far as judge, I don't know. I feel like I would go with either Peter or the Bob because I feel like they would do it on a statistical basis. So I feel like there'd be metrics involved as opposed to, that was a good cupcake.
I actually want to retract my baker now that I think about it because Newberry's peanut butter balls in my mouth just felt right. So I feel like that's my baker.
I was just thinking if we had any actual chefs in Newberry.
So see, it's funny that you said that because I actually picked Newberry as my judge because I just see him as a person that knows food, and I've never had his peanut butter balls in my mouth. So
Jeremy said his chocolate salty balls are the best.
Yeah, they just, like I said, they felt right in my
mouth. Next is my baker. Pat Cousinell, because he has ladies around all the time, and hands down, I've never tasted a better
You think he's got some buns in the
oven?
oven?
Oh yeah, buns in the oven, absolutely. Now my decorator may come as a surprise to you, but I'm going Ian. And the reason that I'm going Ian is because this guy is my enforcer, and he would do whatever is possible on that decoration to kill the competition. So I'm going with Ian.
But
those are my three.
Then he would fall into the display and knock it down.
Hey, it's fine. But fall into my display or fall into the